BlogHer. I'm here at BlogHer conference's last day. We're wrapping up, and I'm here with fantastic Susan Getgood. Susan will introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her company and her background.
Okay. Hi, thank you for asking me to do this. I'm really glad to be chatting with you. I am both a marketer, a social media consultant, and a blogger. So I sort of bring the whole package of what we're doing to my consulting practice. I work with companies, really, the way I start to describe it is I work with companies and I help them meet their customers. And you're meeting your customers through marketing, you're meeting your customers through blogger outreach, you're meeting your customers on blogs. So that's really what I've been doing in the last 5 years. Before that, I had all kinds of corporate jobs.
Okay, now Susan, when you were up on one of your panels, you said that you have posted about the 4 P's PR professionals should use whenever they're pitching blogs.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're marketers and we like P's, right? We have product, price, place, promotion. We got our degrees and such like. So I came up with, and a lot of other people have used P too. It's a good letter. But my 4 P's have to do with when we're reaching out to bloggers. In fact, they probably work pretty well for reaching out to journalists too. But let's focus on bloggers for a minute. And the first one is you have to prepare. You really have to listen to what's going on in the market. Listen to what bloggers are saying. Read the blogs and read them over time, not just over a few minutes, because you need to know the people. Because really blogs are about people and they're about the passions that the people have. So until you prepare, until you really get to know them, you can't pitch them. And the second thing is you have to participate. More than once during the last 2 days, people have said, I opened that pitch from that person because I knew them. That person is in our community. They comment on our blogs. You have to get in there and be part of the community. And that means reading. That means commenting. And not commenting in a pitch way, responding to what was being talked about on the blog. So until you actually do those first 2 things, you shouldn't do a pitch. But once you do, if you really engage, and that's true for any blogging community. Here at BlogHer, we've talked a lot about mommy bloggers because that's a segment that is very attractive to the large consumer companies. So unfortunately, most of our bad examples come from large consumer companies trying to reach mommy bloggers. But the same rules would be true whether it's mill bloggers or green or single women, any group. You got to be part of the community. And the other thing is, the other P, it's pitch or publish. Because again, a lot of companies are jumping into putting out blogs. But until you actually know what you want to be and how you want to fit into the existing community, you shouldn't be publishing a blog either. Because you could be making a big mistake in terms of how you position your company. So prepare first, participate second, and then and only then should you pitch or publish.
Now, let's say, for example, I'm a PR professional. My boss approaches me and says, we have a pitch we need to make in 48 hours. I want you to put a list together of maybe financial blogs. 48 hours to put this list together. We come up with 10 great financial blogs. And I know that they're going to want to talk about a specific product. When I present this to my boss, though, however, he or she starts asking me about metrics. Well, how many visitors do they have? Well, a couple of these blogs, they only have maybe a handful, 100 loyal readers. How do I prove to someone like him that that's really worthwhile for our time?
I have a couple of tips for you. One has to do with understanding whether the blog community that you're reaching out to is one that's driven by links or driven by comments. And it's a simple thing, but a lot of, in the marketing and PR blogosphere, for example, it's very link driven. We're all about reading each other's stuff and writing about each other's stuff and linking to it. So we tend to have, not great always, but decent rankings and things like technology because there's a lot of links going around. But the mommy blogging community isn't about linking. They write stories about their lives, and they all read each other's blogs, and they comment. And so, a mommy blog could have 50 or 100 comments on every post, every day. Now, I have a marketing blog. If I get 5 comments, I'm like, yay! And I had one post just recently that has like 40, and I'm like, wow! And of course, it was a post of the mommy bloggers all in red, and they posted comments because that's how it works. And so you have to understand that. So if it's a segment that's comment-driven, point to the comments and say, look, this is an active community because everyone's talking to each other. If it's link-driven, you can look at things like Technorati and that stuff. The other thing I would suggest is because as PR marketing people, we tend to know other PR marketing people, right? If you're trying to reach the financial community and you see that blogger wrote about some kind of product a while ago, pick up the phone and try and find the company that did that pitch and find out how it worked for them. I mean, there's no harm in finding out how it worked for somebody else. I mean, it may not work, you may not be able to find the person, but I'm almost sure that if someone else reached out to that same community and you emailed or called them and said, you know, I'm working on this and I just how'd that work out for you? Most people are pretty careful, pretty good about sharing, even amongst competitors.
Okay, great advice. Last question for you. Transitioning into talking about mommy bloggers. For a lot of these moms who've been here today, they have talked about they have a mommy blog because they're moms right now. Their kids are still home and they're young. What happens? What do you think is going to be the transition for mommy bloggers who, as their children get older, they leave home, they go off to college? What do you think will happen with their blogs?
It's an interesting question. That's one that I've thought about a lot because, you know, there is this sort of perception that it's all about moms with young children. And as those young children get older, what happens? I don't know that we know, except that I can say pretty much without any doubt that all these women, whether they're have other interests besides just their children. I mean, our children are part of, I mean, I'm a mom, our children are part of what drive us and why we write or why we do what we do. But we also, you know, have hobbies, we have jobs, we have careers, we do travel. I think the blogs will morph as the interests of the women morph. And they may not be writing about, you know, diapers and daycare, but they may be writing about the challenges of having elementary school age children. And so the blogs will mature and change. But the thing is the community is still kind of, it's family more than it is children. And it's not so much mom as it is, you know, parent and family, and that's the core of the thing, whereas a food blogger is about the food, even though they might also be a mom.
Absolutely.
Thank you.